police.
Stand by. We're going to try to get to, it looks like we have some, this is a live shot from the Springfield rallies tonight. There's one group supporting local police.
There's stuff going on. There's still stuff going on right now. Not in China. There was some tense moment. There are people scuffling at this moment. Someone was taken away by Springfield police. We do not know exactly why, but she was being escorted. She was pulled out of a crowd. As you can see, the crowd is moving towards to where that woman was arrested. Or not arrested, excuse me, she was taken by police. We don't know if she was arrested. But we will have a full update tonight on KZI 9 News 11 from both sides of the protest. Live in Springfield, Con McCarthy, KZI 9 News. China, it's been peaceful so far, as you can see right here to my left. This is the parade that is happening right now, and they're heading down towards Main Street, down Pioneer Parkway at this time. But in the distance right there, you can see that the counter-protesters are following them and behind. They're playing their drums. I know we did try to get some interviews with the counter-protesters, but a lot of them didn't want to go on camera. But the people I did talk to today that are in the parade say they're out here to support the police. They believe that the police here are getting a bad rap because they had nothing to do with what was happening in Minneapolis. As you can see, this is a very, very large crowd. It goes all the way up. It's heading towards Pioneer Parkway. There's about 200 to 300 people here that are here to support the police. And there's about 150 counter-protesters. And people here have signs that say, "We support the blue." And then they're waving American flags as well. As you can see, we're still walking with the crowd as well. We're going to head down Pioneer Parkway. But we will have an update for you tonight at 6:30. But for now, reporting live in Springfield, Con McCarthy, KZI 9 News.
China, for over a month now, kids have been able to escape to Civic Park to get some fresh air and to return to some type of normalcy after being cooped up in their homes for months due to the pandemic. But as you can see from our Sky 9 drone, the field here is mostly empty right now.
We are at the Siuslaw River public dock, and I wanted this vantage point because I wanted to show you what you're about to see right now from that orange helicopter. They are dunking that orange bucket into the Siuslaw River to go to various parts along this river, which is also along Highway 126, and they drop those buckets from the underside onto those flames, onto those hot spots, and it's just meant, from officials, what they told me, to cool down the area. This is these two are two of three helicopters and an airplane that's dropping water on these various spots.
A hot lunch and breakfast for the next day are being delivered between 11 a.m. and 1. They're available to any child up to 18 years old. They don't need to be a Springfield student, and we have information on those stops at kzi.com.
Until this morning, the farthest we could go was here at the Smokey Bear sign in Walterville. But with Highway 126 reopened, we got our first opportunity to drive through the wreckage from Eugene all the way through Blue River. After the first night, before the smoke cleared, people feared the good pasture-covered bridge was gone. However, we learned later that it still remains. It is one of the few buildings in that area that made it. I'm here at the Leeburg Fish Hatchery, and while the park and the hatchery have been closed here for a while, I wanted to take a moment to stop here and show what damage that they haven't seen here at the hatchery. You can see the bridge is completely fine, but just over the river, the hillside is burned up the side. You can see green and brown scattered, burning in kind of a mosaic pattern. Hit or miss, that's the story of this fire. Sometimes even next-door neighbors suffered extremely different fates, some losing everything, some whose homes remained untouched.
I can't even begin to express the quickness of the fire. It was just so fast.
Barbara Emanuel was working at the Holiday Farm when the fire that would soon take its name began. Today we caught her at a property she knows very well. By now we've driven through the entire town of Blue River, which, as you know, was completely consumed by this fire. And I want to give you guys real examples of just how random this fire was. As you can see next to me, there is a completely unrecognizable bus. You can see the tires were just completely shredded by this blaze. And if you want to take a look across the street, just to show how unpredictable fire can be, there are some cars that were burnt completely to the ground, others that still have their wheels, but as you can see beyond that, it goes to show that nothing in this area survived this blaze.
Now, this was a shop residence that was used for all kinds of things, you know, because it was an old gas station and it had every tool, you know, for any kind of work you could possibly need, want, or do. And they had a little restaurant booth down here. I mean, this was a cafe right here.
ODOT is asking that use of Highway 126 be limited to residents, first responders, and recovery personnel due to the numerous hazards that still remain. Reporting from the Mackenzie River, Emma Jerome, KEZI 9 News.
A lot of people that I've talked to, it's kind of a balance between not wanting to cook and also wanting to support businesses.
While some restaurants have closed during this pandemic, others have turned to delivery as a lifeline. Beer Garden on 6th Avenue is one of many restaurants offering delivery to people within 5 miles. Employee Sarah Dunn says they've been able to serve a lot of hungry people in need, which encourages them to keep going.
It gives me a sense of pride, you know, like obviously we're not nurses here, but we're still taking care of people's needs in the way that we can. So, you know, I feel really good about it and I'm really happy to be able to work.
Restaurants aren't the only ones feeding families during the crisis.
I've been following around a Grubhub driver for hours now, and he's been absolutely slammed with orders. He says with so many people needing to feed their families, plus regular drivers taking a hiatus, he's making double what he normally would, and he's helping many people along the way.
Chris, with Grubhub, I get to go around and spread reassurance. I'm an extremely optimistic, happy, bubbly person. And so not only am I bringing them their food, but I get to tell them, say, hey, things are going to get good.
Chris Dotson says delivering food is more than a job.
When I walk up to someone's porch, I'm allowing them to stay home and be safe. And it makes me feel good that I'm protecting somebody, whether it's elderly, whether it's single moms with kids or whatever it is. My job is not only helping them, but I'm getting to protect them. And that's it's the best.
He says the demand for food delivery services is bigger than he's ever seen.
Under normal conditions, I get about 5 every 2 hours, so 2 to 3 an hour. But now what's happening, it is nonstop. It is not, I'll get them before I get to the next one.
He says he's thankful to be working during this pandemic, despite the amount of drivers currently willing to work.
I don't think we have enough drivers right now to deliver everything. So they're saying, hey, well, hey, since you're going to go to KFC, hit Taco Bell while you're there. They're doubling, tripling up our orders because there's just not enough people.
He tells me people are more appreciative than ever, and he's thrilled to be able to help those in need.
We're all doing everything we can to help our own community, and we do appreciate the thanks. I don't do it for the thanks, but we all appreciate it.
Reporting in Eugene, Jillian Smuckler, KZI 9 News.
I don't know that the full gravity of what happened hit us until after the fact.
Kira Rodenbush says when her kids play outside, the rule is they stay on this sidewalk. But last Friday, her 5-year-old son didn't have to leave the sidewalk to find big trouble.
It was probably 6:30 p.m., so bright light outside.
This is surveillance video from Kira's neighbor's front porch. It shows Kira's 5-year-old son Sam walking by. A few seconds later, the audio picks up his voice. Listen closely. That's Sam telling his dad he found a gun in the bushes.
And it was right here. He just got far enough away from my husband for him to come out to the sidewalk and say, buddy, get back here right now. What are you doing?
Listen and watch. You can hear Sam proudly shout his discovery as he walks back up the sidewalk holding a fully loaded pistol.
And he said, Daddy, I found a gun and I'm going to shoot you with it. Can I shoot you with it? And my husband said, no, you know what, buddy? That looks like that might not be a toy. Why don't you put it down, as he's coming towards him.
Sam's parents immediately called the police non-emergency line and stored the gun until a Portland police officer showed up.
The officer came, said, I have a 2-year-old son. This is terrifying to me to consider. Removed a full clip and put the safety on and said, this is a .38.
Kira couldn't bring herself to watch this video until today. She knows this story could have ended much differently.
I went to sleep that night holding my son. I slept for 12 hours and I woke up and I began shaking like uncontrollably with this sort of PTSD, thinking what could have happened.